Muskegon Channel. It's Andy O'Reilly, and today I'm up at Sandy's Harley-Davidson in Fremont. It is very nice of Sandy's to give us a little space because we had to meet in the middle. I've got a couple of friends here. Randy Wright is the chief of police in Fremont, and the guy who set this all up on the end down there, he is dashingly handsome, and I've known him since we were probably 4 years old. My friend Kurt Delia, who is, are you still a police officer as well?
I am.
You are.
Yeah.
You're with the Newaygo County.
Well, I'm retired in Newaygo County, and
Okay.
I work for the chief.
Okay, good.
Part-time.
But you've also gone off to become this warrior of sorts.
Well,
You've got
no.
a company called Delia Tactical, and I say warrior because you're helping guys on the front line in their job with what you make and manufacture down in Muskegon and everything. Still making it all in Muskegon?
Right, yeah, we make the rescue tool, the Raptor in Muskegon,
Yeah.
and I'm a trainer.
Yeah. So you actually go around the country and teach people
Yes, sir.
new things and new ways to protect and serve and all that other kind of
I
stuff.
do.
So
Yes, I do.
pretty amazing stuff that you do. And if you watch like the Andy and Dave Daily, and if you look behind me down in the corner, one of those Raptor tools is sitting right there in my studio. So we wrapped around at the Muskegon Channel just in case, if I ever need to break into a vehicle or extricate somebody from a fire, I've got that right there in my house, just in case. And we go back on some friendships and things like that, but we are here today to talk about a little bit more of a serious business, and that's our school safety. There are a million different issues when it comes to school safety, and a million trains of thought, and a million different ways of approaching this kind of stuff. Let's talk to some experts. I mean, first step is what, you guys? So let's start with you, Chief. Talk about your opinion in the first step of school safety.
Creating an atmosphere of safety. We want the kids to be able to learn in a safe environment.
Yeah.
Parents want their children to be in a safe environment when they're dropping them off at school, things like that. So we're going out of our way to make the schools a safe place with equipment, door locking tools and things like that, but also changing the thought process for students, faculty, families. We have a generation that's grown up with lockdown drills now.
Yeah.
That's not you or I. We didn't grow up that way.
No.
But the kids have come to expect it. They want a safe environment. So we're providing tools, equipment, and training, and then just changing the thought process about what we see and how we report it, how often we report it, things like that.
Where right now, Kurt, would you say are the biggest gaps that we see in school safety?
Well, I mean, a lot of, and anybody who knows anything about facility security and threat assessment knows that security is built in layers, like a cake.
Yeah.
And it starts with observation, and then we have cameras, and we have controlled access points, and then we have maybe a whole monitoring system, and ultimately at the end of that, the highest level of security and the last form of security is armed personnel.
Yeah.
That's kind of the last, the last defense.
Sure.
For the kids, but if all the other things are missing, just putting someone in the building with a gun isn't going to solve the problem. You have to have your security plan has to be layered, and it has to be deeper than just one way of thinking. So, without talking politics too much,
Right.
I think the focus is too much right now on guns. I think we need to be looking at that layered security program as opposed to just focusing on guns as being the problem or focusing on guns as being the solution.
Right.
So
I mean, and we don't necessarily want to get off into the gun battle because there are so many polarized views on guns and things like that. And Kurt and I are a couple of Sparta boys, so it's pretty clear that I don't think either of us are in a big rush to run about, take away your guns and all that other kind of stuff. And I think if even this legislation comes in over time, there's so many of them out there now, you're not going to stop a crazy man that wants a gun. It's just not going to happen, unfortunately.
Right.
But I like the idea of the layered stuff, and then I'm starting to see more and more on social media that they've got these little pods now that they can put in a room, a secure pod. They've got the door bars that they can quicken act and all that other kind of stuff. Is there any validity to that kind of security measure, or should it start right at the front door?
It should start at the front door, but when we're talking school security and active shooter type scenarios, the more time that we can buy for police to get on the scene, the average response in Fremont is 3 minutes for us to be to a school. If we can buy the students 3 minutes by barricading a door of some sort, or moving them away from the shooter, and we get the officers there in 3 minutes, it's going to be done and we're going to save lives.
Yeah.
So yes, there is some validity to those kinds of tools.
So those kind of tools. Now, without getting into naming names of schools or anything like that, do you guys see schools in the area that are seriously lacking what they need
Absolutely.
for security?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's really that big of a problem.
There's one local school district here that I just found out that their average response time, they're being told from law enforcement, they're 20-25 minutes before they'll be there.
I mean, that's just response time for law enforcement.
Right.
But when you walk into the school, from the moment you walk to the door to where you could actually be stopped and checked, is that a problem as well in our area schools?
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
So it's a serious issue around here.
And
Where,
I'll tell you, in Fremont it's an issue, but we've just passed a safety millage
yeah.
where they're going to fix those problems. And
Yeah.
they've got blueprints, and that's going to be done this summer. But we've got 2 schools that you can walk in unchecked
Yeah.
at this point.
And isn't that a scary thing to have to say? Because, where we grew up, I mean, especially in Sparta, we never had to worry about this crap.
We never had to worry about it, and it's something now. At our times, we live in a different time, and and there were just as many firearms back then
Yeah.
when we were kids.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, there may even been a few in our school system, in our lockers on occasion that teachers in school didn't know about, but they were in there. Going rabbit hunting after school, or you got a rifle out in your trunk, or a 22, or a shotgun, or so it's just a sign of our times right now. And unfortunately, again, I don't want to push on the political end of this thing, but when we were kids, you couldn't buy alcohol, right?
Right.
Because you weren't old enough.
Right.
But I don't remember that ever stopping
Yeah.
people.
It never stopped me. I promise you that. You grew up right around the corner, I think I showed up in that green and orange pickup truck more than once with Jim over at your house.
Jim, you're watching.
We
gotta talk.
Practical advice that you guys would give a parent at this point. I mean, there are parents out there that are terrified. This, we're taping this on the day that the kids are doing their walkout. Their 17-minute
Just came from
walkout.
there, yeah.
What do you tell a scared parent right now? How you address their concerns?
Well, I mean, I think that the parents need to be a little bit more involved in their school districts.
Yeah.
And go to a council meeting and sit in on the school board meetings, and if you have a security concern or you have issues, I think you need to speak up and talk. You need to get involved in that conversation. I personally don't have children in school, but if I did have my children in the school, I would address the school board. I would go talk to the principal. I'd talk to the superintendent and ask him, sir, is there something that we're working on? Is there a security program we're implementing now? And I'd talk to my local chief of police. I'd talk to my sheriff, whoever jurisdiction my school happens to be in, and I'd find out.
Yeah, it's awareness. Fear of the unknown. If they don't know how their children are being secured, then their level of fear is heightened. So it comes down to, like Kurt said, talking with your administrators and talking with the staff and finding how and if you're not happy with those answers, then digging further and making sure you are
Pushing a little bit harder.
But also raising their level of awareness. Again, this society's changed. We can't leave a backpack at the front door of the school and have 100 kids walk by it anymore.
Right.
Sure, it said kid's tennis clothes for practice later, and his mom dropped it off so he'd grab it, but not in these day and age.
No.
You can't do that. So
and it's hard to believe.
It's raising that awareness level and bringing security concerns to the appropriate people.
Yeah. What's the next step? I mean, do you think we're all looking at huge increase in taxes to get all this school stuff? I mean, all the security pay. To me, I mean, and Dave and I, we do the daily thing every day, and I asked him a couple weeks ago. I asked him if every parent had to cough up $1,500 to fortify these schools, would it be of value? And Dave Cackley, on the news, he said, no, I wouldn't pay it. I think that's a small price to pay on a level of security for all of the kids in the community.
I think in whole, the school districts are doing a good job. They're putting the funding where it needs to be. They're doing a good job keeping their children safe, even if they don't have all the latest and greatest equipment. They're aware. They're getting the training. They're doing those things. So monetarily, I don't think that's an issue. It's stuff that we can be doing for free.
Yeah.
The training, the awareness, the drills, all that stuff you can do for free.
Well, from your point of view.
Well, I mean, I think that it's from a money perspective, from a financial perspective. Again, this is something we've never really addressed as a society,
Right.
and it's something new that it's not necessarily very new, but it's something all of a sudden somebody, all the kids and the parents and the people and the teachers and the police officer, everybody's kind of demanding something happen now.
Right.
We're fed up with it,
Right.
And they've never funded for security before, right?
Well, we never had to.
Their funding went to the sports programs or the after-school science programs or whatever it was, and they've never had part of their budget really dedicated to security.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see the teachers unions get on board a little bit more and help with that. I know that they there's always issues there with funding for district personnel and buildings and so forth.
Sure.
But I think we're going to be forced. Eventually, we're going to be forced to do it.
Yeah.
We need to put money into our school security.
Yeah.
It needs to be in there. And in my opinion, that would be my first dollar would go to security. My second dollar would go to buy a new book.
Yeah. Well, there you have it.
Well,
it's not a question that's going to get answered overnight. It's not one that's going to. We're not going to snap our fingers and get it fixed. And it's just one of vigilance. It's one of prepared. And it's one of the future. As new schools get built, these things are all going to have to be implemented as awareness comes about and things that, like you said, with some changes into the schools over the summer. Any final thoughts you want to leave us with? Kurt, start with you.
my thoughts and prayers are with the kids and the families.
And you've given your whole life to this, man. I've watched the whole thing, and I know you're very gung ho on things, and you're very passionate about taking care of protecting people, and that's one of the things I love about you. So, I know your thoughts and they're in the right place.
Thank you.
How about you, Chief?
Stop and take a deep breath before we make a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
Look at what's best for the community, for the kids. Put a cop in the schools. You've got a gun in the schools, and you've got the community reaction with the children.
Yeah.
I don't think you can lose.
There you have it. Well, School Security Talk, Kurt Delia, Chief. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Andy.
We'll put your links up here, and we can link the police department up if you want. Yeah, sure. Appreciate you guys taking a few minutes. Thanks to Sandy Harley-Davidson for having us up here today. School security, it's on the top of everyone's mind. I appreciate Kurt and Chief taking a few minutes today to talk about it on the Muskegon channel.